Welcome everyone to People on Dating. I'm your host, Will Morales. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, this podcast is about the ups and downs of dating and how to navigate through it. Today, my guest is Ashley Renee Casey. I got that name right?
Yes, you did. Perfect.
Cool. So over the past 15 years, Ashley has led teams at Fortune 100 companies, delivered keynotes across the country, and founded Presence Over Pixels to help people reclaim their attention and deepen their relationships. Her work blends data, story, and soul, offering practical tools that resonate with both head and heart. Ashley, thank you so much for being on People on Dating. How are you?
I am fantastic. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. I'm good. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What was that journey like? You delivered keynotes across the country. You founded Presence Over Pixels. What was that aha moment for you?
Yeah, well, really, it was the loss of a job.
Ah,
I
okay.
lost a job, the contract ended, and then I started to try to look for something else. And I felt like I was being tapped on the shoulder to help people to get off their phones and be more present and connect with each other and just be more human. So yeah, that's how I have kind of started and been doing it now for about a year and a half, and very happy with everything that's unfolding for Presence Over Pixels.
Yeah, it's funny how things work out, but and today's a good topic because I've been seeing this topic for the last year, dating for status, and it seems like both men and women are doing that. Um, so, Ashley, are we seeing more and more relationships becoming transactional, or a combination of transactional and someone has the glory of status, whether it's through Instagram or their job? It seems like it's a whole new ball game now when it comes to dating.
Yeah, basically what I'm seeing when it comes to relationships and status specifically is a lot of people aren't really sure, I feel like, on what they actually want.
Mhm.
I think that from what I see, people see the status like you're talking about, like influencers and people who are online, or even job titles, and they think that that is, the thing to get, and they start liking everything and sending the DM
Yeah.
to try to connect in that way. But in reality, they don't have a sense of who they are. So.
Talk more about that. Having a sense of who they are. What do you mean by that? That's deep.
Yeah, so a lot of my work does sit in observing people online and
Mhm.
as well as observing cultural online. Over the past 10 years, we've spent a lot of time online, with COVID being the peak of when we started really spending time online. And when we spend so much time scrolling, clicking, swiping left, swiping right, we're not spending time with ourselves. And when we're not spending the time with ourselves, then we can't know who we are and understand what we actually like, because so much time online is built off of algorithm. And so if I'm scrolling, the algorithm's telling me what I like, right? And so that's when I say that we don't have a sense of who we are, oftentimes, that's what I mean by that. The scroll has defined us.
Listen, I have to agree because even at my old age, I am hooked on Instagram and YouTube. And sometimes I can spend an hour on both going back and forth. And all of a sudden, an hour passed by and I'm like, shoot, I didn't get nothing productive done. Is that the hook by those companies, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube,
Yeah.
just to hook you up? Because you see, usually at the end of the week, it'll say on on my iPhone, you spend 7 hours and 8 minutes a day on social media, and I'm like, what? And it could be 15, 20 minutes, but it adds up.
Yeah.
Um, what is it about? All right, you did say algorithms, but let's talk about more about status, right? Let's say
Mhm.
because from a male's point of view, I see some of the women that I know, and they're younger, they're friends of mine, and I'm just looking and observing. But it's just it seems that the guy with the car or the guy with the job or the guy on vacation is drawing some women in. And I remember hearing someone say that it seems that some women, and I always put a small percentage, doesn't want to get to know the man. They just want to get to know the status of the man. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I've seen men and I've seen guys do that too with some women that are traveling. Oh, I want to know, what she does. And I know these are the guys that don't have really much going for themselves, so they're trying to get that type of woman to take advantage and things like that. So are we seeing that type of balance or imbalance in today's relationships?
I would say that it's pretty equally balanced, right? I think
Okay.
both men and women are receiving, a constant onslaught of what a quality man is or what a quality woman is. And that includes like what they look like, what they drive, where they're going, and what they're doing.
Hmm.
And so that's that initial hook. But then afterwards, like we have to take it upon ourselves to go deeper and ask the questions to make sure that we understand who this person is. Because we can't, a relationship's not built off of looks.
Yeah,
It
you're
can be
right.
built off of status and, somebody's job.
Oh, so we're not getting to know the other person. We're not asking the right questions, or we're not asking questions at all. It seems just the status is now the symbol and the, for lack of a better phrase, uh, the go-to that, oh, this girl has it. Let me just, like you said earlier, let me shoot him a DM.
Yeah.
It seems like courting is becoming a thing of the past because I see a lot of women complain about it. I see guys don't want to court women. And again, I'm going by some of my friends' actions. They tell me that, they take them out on the first date, and then the second date, they're inviting the girl over to their house. And I'm like,
Yeah.
already? I'm like, Jesus. I mean, I know. Go ahead. No, no, Ashley, I can see. I see the clock and everything ticking.
Well, because I have to say that I am very, very fortunate. So, me and my husband, we will have been married for 5 years this December.
Okay.
We met in 2018 off of a dating app. We both swiped right. So, I am not opposed to technology for dating at all. But he actually courted me.
Okay.
And I was the one that was frustrated because I wanted him to take me home on the second date, and he did not.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
but I take pride in saying that my man courted me. So for the guys out there who are like, no, I'm not going to court the woman, there's something to be said about a woman who wants you and you don't let her have it, yourself.
Sure. Sure.
Just saying.
I
So,
gotcha. I gotcha.
but yeah, no, with this going back to the status thing, the algorithm of the rewards like pretty shiny pictures, right? I've
Right.
even known people who they've been in relationships and they don't get out of the relationship because of the status that they've presented online. And, like it's friends of mine, and on the backside, like when they're talking to me in private, or, one of my mutual friends and our mutual friends in private, they're sharing how they're in an abusive type relationship, even, where it's not kind or healthy, but they've built this life on social media that's shiny and, flashy and pretty and perfect. And that status they're afraid to lose, so they stay in the relationship even for that. So it goes both ways. Once somebody is, they might seek a relationship for status, but
Right.
then once they have the status, they even fear losing it because of the image that they've built, online.
Wow. So I never thought about it that way. So you telling me that depending on the person, that the other person's stat. Let me make sure I got this right. So the other person's status means more than the relationship itself. Did I get that right?
The status that's been built
That,
online.
that built online, right? Because that could be a fake
Correct.
status. We don't know if that's
Yes.
real. Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's not real.
Okay.
For with private relationships that I've had, with that person or with a mutual friend of that person.
Yeah.
But the status that they have built online, this image that they have built online, they are too afraid to lose that.
Oh, I see. I
And so
gotcha.
they
I
stay
gotcha.
in an unhealthy relationship just so they don't lose their social status that's been built on social media.
Jesus. I mean, boy, this generation, the younger generation, what they call it, Gen X, Gen Z, I don't even know what gen they are now. And it seems that we're not getting the true relationship of two people. It seems it has to do, again, we talk about status and what they have going for them. and money and things like that. It seems again we're not getting to know the character of each other. Am
Yeah.
I in the ballpark there?
Absolutely. I think that the big thing with what we have to do, especially in this landscape of being constantly online,
Hmm.
is to allow ourselves to disconnect from online.
Right.
Because when we're always online, we don't get the quiet time with ourselves to ask ourselves those difficult questions of what do I like? What matters to me? What are my values? Because if
Right.
we ask ourselves those questions, then we feel more confident in asking others those questions when we're trying to date. Because eventually the truth is going to come out. People who are seeking a relationship for status, they're going to get caught. You can't keep on with that kind of lie because then there's no happiness there.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree because they always say, somebody will speak the truth when they least expect it. In other words, let someone talk long enough, the truth will come out.
Yes.
So, ask you, what do you think about, over the next year or so in terms of dating? Would it be, are we expecting anything different than it is today? Because of social media, it seems like just people are just hooked up on social media. Nobody wants to meet in person. I'm hearing stories that, they're throwing events like singles events or speed dating, and men are not showing up anymore. Um,
Yeah.
how we bridge that, in your opinion, how can we bridge that gap to have people to actually meet and talk to each other, even give a phone call? And even in my age, in my 60s, I remember I met this woman a couple of years ago and I found her attractive. And I said, in my mind, I'm going to exchange phone numbers. Oh, let me get your Facebook profile. Like, what? Is that what it comes down to now? It's no phone numbers. It's just let me see what your pictures look like online or whatever. Is that what's happening now? What am I missing?
Yeah, so each generation is really, really different. So I interact with people in their 20s as well as the Gen Z, and
Yeah.
that is their calling card is their Snapchat or their Instagram. It's no
Oh
longer
my
the exchange
God.
of phone numbers anymore. And I think part of it for that generation just has to do with how they grew up. Like, you and I, we grew up with a telephone in the house and they didn't, right? And
Yeah.
so that first interaction for them, that intimacy does come from social media. So it's the landscape for the younger folks is totally different. And even, millennials, we struggle to talk on the phone. So text messaging is, more convenient for us.
Yeah.
But what I see happening over the next couple of years is um it's going to be a lot of work for a lot of people for us to connect meaningfully.
Mhm.
I see people now beginning to wake up and kind of figure out ways that they can meet in person more.
Yeah.
Uh, but that's a tough skill for a lot of people. And so it's going to take the effort of local communities to make sure that they're creating spaces where people feel comfortable building events that are inviting and there's some sort of incentive for both men and women to show up, but
Right.
at the same time, people are going to have to also start doing the work on themselves because going back to the beginning, so much of who we are has been overly influenced by an algorithm to where we've lost who we are. We haven't, for some people have not even figured out a little bit of who they are because they've just been fed. And so I think over the next couple of years, people are going to begin to wake up and realize how unhealthy that type of lifestyle and behavior was or is, and start pulling back from being constantly online and start waking up and slowly finding ways that they can integrate back into their local communities. So for folks that are in the dating scene right now, there's those individuals, they're going to have to be okay with being by themselves and not with their phone
Mhm.
because okay, being by yourself and with your phone is completely different than being by yourself without your phone. Because when we're by
Right.
ourselves without our phones, that's when we get to ask ourselves those questions and think. And it's also going to require over the next couple of years us getting comfortable with being uncomfortable,
Yeah.
right? Meeting new people is scary. And so if we can go out and, meet people in real life, then we lose all of that whole status thing, right?
Yeah.
Because we
No.
have to put in the work to figure out who they are. So
No.
yeah, that's I think.
No, I think you hit it right on the head because it seems when if they're throwing these events for men and women to meet in person, and the women are showing up, but not the men, now are the men afraid to approach a woman now these days? Because again, what I'm hearing and reading, if that first date goes bad, then somebody, usually the woman, will post it online. Well, I went on this date with this guy, and this guy was this. He gave me the ick and all that. And now, man, again, what I'm reading and hearing, men don't want to be a statistic, so they're afraid to approach a woman because they might end up online and somebody talking about them. And that cycle has to get broken, because I think we belong together. I don't believe in none of this being separate. And
Yeah,
I
great.
prefer. Listen, I have female friends that I love to hang out with. I have a good circle, but it seems like the circle in this generation is, let me hang out with the girls, let me hang out with the boys, and that's it. Nobody's interacting. It seems like nobody wants to go out anymore. At least on the men's side, they don't want to. They're not even approaching women anymore.
I
Again, what I'm reading and seeing online.
Yeah, I think the question people have to ask though is like, what is showing up in my feed, right? So
Yeah,
if I'm a guy and the content that's showing up in my feed is all about going to the gym and is all about being a bro and, how to treat women in a way that is more domineering, of course that guy is going to be afraid to approach women because
yeah,
he's only seeing this male content that is talking about how women should be treated small, right? That requires an evaluation of the content that I'm receiving, right? And on the flip side, as a woman, right? If I'm a woman and the only content or a large majority of the content that I'm receiving is male bashing,
yeah,
then I'm going to think that every man out there is bad, right? And that's going to influence how I show up with a man. So the big thing that I think people need to do is figure out how to get offline, touch grass and meet
yeah,
people, get out of our comfort. It's uncomfortable, Will. It's uncomfortable
yeah.
like
No, I,
to meet
I
with people for a
no,
lot of folks.
no, and I agree. I just think that it has to take one or two, well, two people. Hey, let's go out. Let's hang out. No
Yes.
phones. Put it
Yes.
away and all that. Because I even, in my everyday life, I'm on the train and they're on the phone. Nobody looks up. Nobody's reading. And you hardly hear anybody talk on the train anymore. Maybe on a couple of people, but for
Yeah.
most part, it's just everybody's just hooked on the phone. Listen, I'm one of those guys, and I said to myself, I got to just stop that and quit cold turkey. And I think a lot of people are afraid to quit cold turkey because now they have to think for themselves and they have to evaluate what's going on around them. Am
Yeah.
I in the ballpark there?
Yeah, absolutely. But I want to challenge the cold turkey though. It's
Okay,
more so like what I like to recommend is more so tech free zones. So
I
what a
love
tech
that. Yeah.
free zone is like it's either a physical location, so it might be while I go to the bathroom, I'm not going to bring my phone, like because why? Right? Or
So true, so true.
or at the dining room table. Or it could be more of a time frame. So when I'm driving to work, I'm not going to use my phone. So it's those small things. And that just gives us back the agency so that when we are on our phones, we're the ones in control and not the other way around. So yeah, don't go cold turkey. Like tech is fun, man. That's how we connect with people. Just make sure you are in control and not the other way around.
No, I love that. Well, first of all, actually, I could probably talk to you for another hour. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be on People on Dating. Before I let you go, anything you want to promote? Anything else you want to talk about? Any TED talks, Oprah visits, things that we should know about?
Yeah, if you're looking to try to get offline a little bit more, presenceoverpixels.com is where you can find more information on how to create tech-free zones and connect with folks.
All
So
right.
thank you so much for having me on, Will. I
No,
appreciate
no,
it.
it's my pleasure. So tell us that website one more time.
Yes, presence over pixels.
I love that.
Presence. Yeah.
And I'll definitely put that in the show notes. And before I let you go, one last word about dating. How can Ashley save the world?
Log off, look up, because that is when we are able to actually connect with people and lock eyes and have real communication. Because your
I,
person's out there. I
no,
found mine.
I definitely agree. Well, again, Ashley, thank you so much for being on People and Dating. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye bye.